There we go.
There we go. Got it. Where did you go? Jen? Jen? I think we're streaming live and Jen's not here.
What the hell was that?
Yeah, I know. I don't know what I just did. I honestly, I don't know what I just did.
I was like, am I supposed what? Like, are we streaming live? Like, what?
It was just time we had a talk that happened. Remember that? I was like,
yes, I do. That was exactly what happened the first time.
All right. So we are here, everybody, at Untethered Talk with Robin and Jen. Which, I'm gonna stop talking about the title. I'm dealing with it.
Good job. Good job.
Right. Robin, how you doing?
I'm good. Although it's about to start. It's starting to pour here. So if it gets really loud, I'll do what I need to. But like I'm in the parking lot, obviously. So like it's about to like downpour on my car.
I like the sound of rain.
Yeah, same. All right, good. Hopefully it's not too loud.
We're good. Okay, so today I think Robin and I were just talking, and we're gonna finish up our series on self-love. This is the week of Valentine's Day, so we're finishing up. That's the excuse, but we don't really need an excuse to talk about self-love because it's really, really important.
I think it's crucial.
It's really, if you want to at all have a good life.
Well, I had this moment of revelation this morning. It was a deep aha moment when I was having a conversation with a client. She was sort of, the hamster wheel was spinning about how terrible, awful she was, and I could actually see those words that I could see them sort of creating worlds. Like I could see them actually creating this like energetic pattern, and I was like, oh. It's not just like this is going to be detrimental to you. This is detrimental because I know that words have power. Words are spells. Words are the thing that creates. So I was like, oh, so this is actually detrimental to the planet. So that's when I was like, I stopped her. I was like, this is a moral obligation. Like I really was like, we don't have a choice anymore. And that moment of realization, I've known that. I've been teaching it for a little while, but the realization that the thoughts we have and the words we speak are what's creating the chaos and fear and lack and scarcity and unsafety in the world. I just was like, right? Like I really had this like, fuck, we need to do this work.
Yeah. I remember when I was first learning about self-talk and changing, and even just changing like one particular habit I had about saying things like, what? Like the heavens opened and the sun shone down. Like it makes a huge difference.
It totally does. It totally does.
Out loud makes it even stronger, but like in your head is pretty bad.
Because the thoughts become things. Like that's like energetically, all the gurus, all the teachers, all this, the science, physics is showing that, right? Like quantum, if you think about quantum entanglement theory, physics is saying that when they try to measure something and expect to see it a certain way, that's how they see it. Thoughts become things.
Thoughts become things. They really do. I mean, like the things that you tell yourself, that's the story you're telling yourself, and that's what you believe. And that's what you believe. It's like I was talking to a friend, and it was like, if you go into a situation expecting a fight, that's what you're gonna get.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's really about what you're what you're saying to yourself, how you tell yourself the story of what's going on right now and the story of you.
Right, exactly. And that's what then creates more of that thing that you keep saying you don't want.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. You focus it because it will keep you focused on it. If that's your story, if
exactly.
Your story is, oh, the world's against me, you look for reasons for that to be true.
And you don't even do it consciously. That's not a conscious choice. In fact, there are lots of people who would argue, I definitely don't want this, right? I've had actually clients say that to me. I didn't bring this on. I don't want this. And when we drill it down and I talk to them about like, well, how do you talk to yourself? Well, you know, I did these things, I deserve to be punished. Well, you actually don't deserve to be punished. That like you can't judge your past behavior. I mean, there's karma, but there's also like so unconsciously you're drawing situations to yourself over and over and over again, and the universe is going, you want more of this?
Stop focusing on that. I
like
keep
like
you and you're upset.
all right, you sure you want more of this? Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's what I mean, like it really, I mean, energetically and just like what's going on in the moment. I remember there was a point at which I was having a panic attack and I'm just like, it's just a panic attack. It's fine. It's just a panic attack. And that just got like, it's like, and now I'm full blown panic attack. Like,
right.
Whereas if I had focused on something else or told myself I'm wonderful and
I'm safe, I'm okay, right? Like, right, if you can get to that place of like, I'm safe, I'm enough, or when you're in panic, a lot of times what you need to do is get into your body, right? So you have to ground through your five senses, right? 5 things you can see, and 4 things you can hear, and 3 things you can touch, and 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste, because that's what's actually going to bring you back into your body, which is the only way you're going to stave off a panic attack is by being in your body. And most of us don't spend time in our bodies kind of ever.
As I am learning to spend time in my body, I'm like, wow, spend time in here. Like,
who knew this is what was possible?
Yeah, right. Like, and it's, but again, it was because I've been clearing all this stuff out, and there's finally room for me in here.
Right.
You know, like I really, that stuff was keeping me from being in, like keeping me from being. I was completely from the outside. Anyway. Your words, you convince yourself with your words, right? That's, I mean, so how does that work when you call it to you?
So I mean, first of all, we have to set up that our brains are lying to us almost 100% of, like 99.999% of the time. Our brains are lying to us. That's the first. We really do have to understand that. So its job, its brain is to process data. So it will take something in and process the data and spit you back out what it thinks you want to hear, or what has historically worked, or what so in the case of like the voices in our head about how we talk to ourselves, at some point someone said to us who we are is not okay. They either said it, they showed it, they gave us an indication energetically. There was something about who we are is not okay. It happened. And our brains were like, well, we never want to feel that pain again. So we're never going to do that thing that,
right.
So now your brain is telling you over and over and over again how terrible of a person you are because you did this thing that someone said was wrong and bad. And over time, we have a lot of those things that our brain is saying, you can't be that. That's terrible. If you're that, then people won't like you, or people like only good people do this, or only bad people do that thing that you've done. What's wrong with you? And so it's this constant cycle. It's this constant repetitive cycle. So then we start to behave that way. We start to act like, well, if I'm totally wrong and bad, then it doesn't matter what I do. And if it doesn't matter what I do, then I'm really gonna either constantly be inviting people in, energetically inviting people in who reinforce that pattern of how not good enough you are, or how terrible you are, or how worthless you are, right? So you're constantly energetically inviting those people in to continue to, because that's what your brain looks for. It's familiar.
You attract them.
Exactly. And this is in no way victim shaming. I think this is in no way saying that victims of abuse attracted it and brought it on themselves. Like, that is not even close to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that energetically, you're sending out beacons. You're sending out these beacon signals that someone who is sort of their beacon matches your beacon, right? And energetically, it feels familiar. So you're going to get into that pattern again because it feels familiar, because you're used to it. That's why you get those cycles of people who are in relationship over and over and over again with partners who are just terrible for them. Yeah.
And then the thing is, then that's your worldview, right? That's how you think things are.
Right.
You know, you think, well, I've been hanging out, you know, I've been hanging out with this kind of person my whole life, and that's how everybody is.
Right. And your brain confirms it, because it will give back to you all the data points of all the times that you were a terrible person. So of course this is how the people are. So your brain is actually, it's like that confirmation bias. It's giving you what you want to see and hear. And again, this isn't conscious. None of this is something we're aware of doing.
Right.
These decisions get made before you even have a chance to react. That decision's already made, because your brain has already scanned the environment, found the thing, and brought it to you. It does that a million times a second.
And yeah, I mean, and especially if you're not someone who spends a lot of time on themselves, being aware of the things that you're saying to yourself, or your feelings, or whatever your patterns might be.
Right.
If you're not someone who's started working on that, it's even less conscious.
Exactly. Which is like most of the planet is super unconscious.
Yeah.
And like chasing something outside of themselves in order to feel this whatever. So like, then there's the addictive patterns, right? Because they're chasing something outside of themselves because they can't be at home in themselves, because shit, man, that's a terrible place to be. Right?
Yeah.
I'll be any place but here.
Yeah,
I'll do anything with anybody just so I'm not here.
Right. Yeah. There's too much pain here, so let me go out.
Right. Exactly. I was a little bit harsh with a client yesterday. She texted me. She said, "I'm having a really bad day." I was like, "Great. What's here?" And she said she was like lonely and missing somebody. And she's like, "I have needs." And I said, "No, you have a need to escape the pain of being yourself." And she was like, there was dead silence. Like I got no, like there was like
you sensed
like,
the
fuck
silence.
You. Right? Like I got an energetic fuck you. Like there was no question.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. These are things. There are people run away from themselves because they don't want to face hard truths, but they make it so much more difficult for themselves. It's actually much more painful to do what you're doing than it is to face the truth.
Precisely. And 9 times out of 10, the pain already happened. You already experienced the excruciating pain. You survived it. You lived it. You got through it. Going back there isn't going to be as painful the second time because you've already done it. So like, it's not going to be as bad. You have different tools and resources now, but we're so terrified about getting back into that pain that we'll do anything to avoid it. And that's how we keep ourselves in these patterns. And that's why the voices in our head keep us stuck. They keep us playing small, because that ego part of us that knows it's separate knows that it has to die, and it's terrified. So it's survival instinct, and it's going to do whatever it can to keep itself alive.
So interesting that it's, the ego is afraid of death.
Yes.
Ego death is like, you're not actually going to die. You're not actually
but the ego die. But the ego doesn't know that, because it really is that it's not just symbolic, right? In order to be conscious, then the ego has to surrender, and that's an anathema. Right? Like that is just like, and for most of us, that's hard.
Control in your mind. have control, and so you can't give up control, but haha, you don't actually have control.
Right.
So it's like that anyway. Face that and you're good.
Right. And it's the illusion of control. Did I say this to you? A friend of mine posted on Facebook the other day, and it was such a like mind-blowing, like she said, people self-sabotage because it creates a predictable outcome, and then that gives them the illusion of control. And I was like,
say that. Yes, that's like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's so true.
Right.
So true. Yeah, because the world's scary, and even if it can be sorry, self-talk. Let's stop that right there.
Good job. Good job. Look at you. That's amazing.
A lot of people find the world scary. And any predictable outcome is preferred over something they can't predict.
Right. Exactly. Even if it's painful. Even if it's painful. Even if it's still predictable.
Yeah.
It's the pain, it's the devil,
The devil, Whereas like you have another option to start doing things differently, but you don't know what's going to happen. You're afraid to be happy because you think it's going to be taken away.
Exactly. And then so you may as well not experience it at all, rather than experience the pain of having it and losing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. The ironic thing there is, if that's what you think, that's what's going to happen.
Exactly. And frankly, that's like, the universe is only ever expanding or contracting. That's it. The universe breathes. Just like everything else, it breathes. There's a rhythm. It expands and it contracts. So nothing is permanent. Like, you're not actually going to have something forever. You're not going to have lasting happiness. You're not going to like experience joy and never not experience pain.
That's just not possible.
Right. So like, trying to avoid it is all you're doing is creating pain, but not ever getting to experience joy.
Oh my God. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. That's what's creating a lot of the chaos in the world, is we're like trying to avoid pain, that's now all we have.
Yes. We're looking for it. We're convincing ourselves that is all there is.
Right.
I remember it wasn't that long ago, a couple of years, the first time I started not running from the feeling. I was like, holy shit, this is so much easier.
Right.
I didn't even realize how much stress it causes to try and to stop the feeling, to get away from the feeling. Like you're just looking like, what can I do to get rid of this? Or what can I have to, that was a big thing for me. Like, I have to fix it. Like, you know what I mean? And you end up doing nutty things.
Right.
You're like, I gotta fix it. This is the only thing I can think to fix it, and you make it so much worse.
Exactly.
So much worse.
That's crazy. Like, that's the Michigas. Like, that's the mental gymnastics that we go through. That, like, by trying to avoid this thing that's going to be over in 5 seconds or 10 minutes. Like whatever. I've been with clients who cried for like 45 minutes out of the hour, right? But at the end of that time, it has moved through them. They are no longer ruled by it.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing when you just surrender to your feelings. Not get lost in them, but just allow yourself to feel them and not run away.
Right.
There's so much less stress.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
I had a client yesterday. Was it yesterday or Wednesday? I can't remember. And she says to me, these three things, these things that she's been wanting to happen. She said, that's what she does. So this happened. And I was like, wait a minute. And she's like a basket of nerves, right? So I was like, but wait, you're telling me that what you've been asking for, praying for, wishing for, hoping would happen, actually is exactly what's happening, and you're nervous and worried about it. And I was like, make it make sense, right? And I don't like what. And so she was terrified, and so okay, so I said, I want you to feel this feeling. I want you to actually bring it, like amplify it by 1 degree. And she was like, oh my God, it is. Like she was like so panicky, bracy about it. And I was just like, but like just allow it to be. And she said, oh, okay, that really actually does feel better. And I was like, fantastic.
Stop resisting it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we went and found out where there might have been which was when she was like 6. Like it wasn't even a current issue. It was like from when she was right. But we couldn't go back to 6 until I got her like to be in her present moment. And right. So
true.
That's the point. It's like, it's gonna pass. It's meant to move through. But our brains, the voices say, no, please, not that.
But that's what you perpetuate.
Right.
Like if you keep saying not that, that's gonna stick around.
And that's what and that's because the universe doesn't understand the not, so that's what you're calling.
Yeah.
Constantly in different forms and different shapes. And when we say it and the thoughts are thinking, like, now that's what we're actually creating in our world. Excuse me. That's why there's so much chaos. So it feels like there's so much chaos right now. There's so many people.
That's so true. Like on a macro scale, it's micro and macro, especially right now. It's like everyone's like, oh, this is shitty, this is shitty, this is shitty, and and then everything just gets shittier.
Right. Which is also why I say all the time, the world needs your light, and I mean it sincerely, because there's so many people who aren't conscious that it's getting really fucking uncomfortable, because it's like we're frogs in the water, right? The universe is just turning up the heat, being like, are you ready yet? Are you done yet? Are you ready yet? Right? And so those of us who've done some consciousness work, we're like, please fucking God, be ready yet, because
we're gonna
getting harder. Right? I need some help here, right? I need you to do your work, because I can't hold the light, right? Like I just need like support staff.
It's like what you were saying at the beginning, you know what I mean? Like work on yourself, yes, so that you can feel better, but also you have a moral obligation to the rest of the world to not be shitty.
Right.
And not put that out there.
Right.
Like, that you spew your stuff, you spew the negativity, whether it's about yourself. I mean, most of it's about ourselves. It's about how we feel about ourselves, whatever we're feeling, and we spew that out into the world, and it just creates more of it.
And that vibration doesn't end. Like that vibration goes to the end of the universe. Like right? Like it doesn't end.
It does. It's weird. It just keeps going. I mean, it's given the quantum field, though, like it's kind of everywhere at all at once, right? Like
exactly.
You're muddying it. You're just like, if you don't want to do it for yourself,
right? Do it for us.
Right, do it for us.
You got to be nice to yourself, because I need you to be nice to you.
Yes, exactly. And you are causing problems that I have to deal with.
Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
Man, yeah. I mean, I remember when I was depressed, and that's basically all that was negative self-talk. Constant.
Of course it is.
Constant. I mean, it's negative self-talk is like such an aseptic way to say it. Like just virulent hatred and disgust and
loathing and
loathing. All of the stuff and you keep saying it to yourself, you keep feeling it, and you just propagate it. It's so awful. It's so awful.
It is. And like looking back into those moments, it still makes my heart race. It still gives me that like that level of anxiety of just like, oh, we were so broken. And so like I love those parts of me now with a ferocity, because that's all she needed. And I also know that like the work I'm doing now is, because there's no time, no space, the work I'm doing now is benefiting the woman I was. And so it's like this, like, I knew then that I hoped I would find a way out of it. I wasn't sure,
Mhm.
but I also remember feeling at times that there was something just like calling me forward. And I know now that it was me now going backwards in time and and bringing me forward, right? So I know that's how it works. I can't prove that yet, but I know that's how it works.
It's so true. I mean, the same thing with me. Like when I was going through all that, it's like, this isn't going to be forever. This isn't forever. This is just my story.
Right.
That's all this is. It's my story, and it will change. You know what I mean? Like, and I think now that you said that, it's like, you know, like, I wasn't telling myself back then that that's the case. Like,
Right.
this
right.
is going to benefit something somehow. Like, that was it. Somehow this is going to be good.
Absolutely.
And here we are with Untethered Talk.
Exactly. And that self-talk is so critical. Like, it is so, that voice is the piece that's the only way you're ever going to, that's the only way you're ever going to get out of it, is to just give yourself like a minute respite from that
like a
grueling critic.
Yeah. When you're depressed, that's just not possible. It just feels impossible. It feels impossible.
Right.
But you can take a break from it. You can.
And I think so. That's also where it comes in. I know this is true. You can't do it alone.
Because you don't have any objectivity whatsoever. You're convinced you're a horrible person. You're never going to get out of that by yourself.
And you don't even know that the voice in your head isn't real.
No, you believe it. You're like, that's the truth. I mean, I remember
it's just the facts. The reality is, this is just the facts.
Yeah, like boom, boom, boom. Like you can tell me anything. I will find a way to explain why you're wrong and I'm right. You know what I mean? Like, it really, I was really good at that. I was really, no, this is just the facts. Look at the facts.
I used to argue with one of my teachers, like one of my teachers who really, this is where I learned the most, and also was the most resistant, was working with Bob. And I would say, but the reality is, Bob, this is like, the reality is, my checking account is overdrawn. He was like, that's a fantasy. And I was like, that's not happening. Like, I was so mad.
It's hard. That again, self-talk. It can be a challenge. It is a challenge at first.
Right.
Especially.
And I think that's why you need help. That's why you need help. You need something that will change the energy up, right? So if it's I don't care if it's a mantra or a prayer or a coach or a healer or a teacher, or like listen to a book, I don't care, but you got to do something regularly. Like,
I mean,
not just once.
I cannot tell you the amount of help you've given me to have someone that you can go to and be like, this is what I'm feeling. What do I do? What do I do right now? And have someone who actually has a good answer for you. You know what I mean? You're like, so it's really great to have that interaction, because that's when it's going to get personal. Like you can go and read, and you can, do your studying, whatever, and you can apply it to yourself. And that is a big deal. Like, don't discount that. That's how I got out of where I was.
Right.
That's what brought you to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's just when you have someone who knows the things that you don't know, and they can tell you when you need to know them. It's really cool.
And I think the thing I do, not even that I know so much more, is that I can shine a light. I can see your blind spot because I am not in it, right? So I can shine a light on this blind spot and say, hey, it may be beneficial for you to look at this one particular area that maybe you can't see. And sometimes your head pops off, and sometimes you're like, fuck you. And sometimes you like raise an eyebrow at me, but it plants a seed that maybe there's another way.
What you talk about, Robin? Yeah, I know, it's true. There's a different way. There's a different way. Yeah, I'm sorry, I just lost what the other thing I just wanted to say to you. forget. I forget what I was going to say. It was something interesting.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
No. I interrupted myself. I'm very good at derailing myself in that way. I'm very distractible. I'm not. I'm very focused.
Well, no, I think that, so what I'm learning, a friend of mine, my friend Jamie Chapman, who does so much with like brain function and actually neurodivergence, is most of us who are creative are actually pretty neurodivergent. That's how our brains work. It's a creative brain. It's different. So we don't necessarily actually operate linearly. Like that's, which is why a lot of kids who have any kind of neurodivergency don't really do well in school, because they can't perform with like you do this, then you do this, then you do this kind of, because they don't, and their brains just aren't meant to do that, right? So it's not that you're distractible, or it is that you're distractible, but it's because you're already on to the next thoughts. Like you're already, it's either now or not, it's either now or not now, right? There's no in between. So like it's part of your skill set to be that, which the I don't know if it's a downside or whatever, is that you just don't have the ability to have those sort of linear thoughts.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've worked on it. Like I've worked on like, okay, stopping myself when I go off.
Yeah.
No, bring it back, cut that off. We can go back there later if we want. Just keep on this thought. That was so like what you were saying when Bob was telling you, that's a fantasy, and your checking account was overdrawn, and you're like, fuck you, it's overdrawn. It's not a fantasy, it's reality. That's a hard one. Like, that's hard.
It is. Okay, so there's for years and years and years and years, my guides said to me, be in the world, but not of it. I didn't actually know what that meant, but they would say it to me almost anytime I asked for guidance, they would say, be in the world, not of it. And that would end. Then I'd be like, fuck you. Right. Like, so there was like, right. So what I've come to understand is, and what Bob was saying and what my guides were saying, and what really that means is like, it may have been true that your checking account is negative, but it also, there's a anything could happen at any moment that could change that. So allowing for those possibilities, you have to live in reality. That's true. But live in reality, not necessarily allow it to be always 100% true, because it's a closed system that way. So if we can get to the place of like just a little bit of daylight in there, you've given room for miracles. You've given room for grace. You've given room for something. And if you say out loud, I don't have any money in my checking account, now you've created it not only for this moment, but the next moment. So it's like if you're right here right now, that might be a true thing, but like the next moment something can change, and we need to be able to allow the next moment to happen without getting stuck in the now, without getting stuck in the reality. And so that's what it means to be in the world and not of it, is to, yes, I have these experiences, and also I'm not necessarily letting those experiences be the sole definition of how I move about in the world. Does that make sense?
Yes, and when you're checking, it's really hard to fit. Yeah, that's
trust me. I know that one. I know it is.
I know. Yeah, I mean, it's when you're in. It's not just the fact of it; it's the consequence of it. You're just like,
right. And I think if
my checking account wasn't overdrawn, I wouldn't be getting charged late fees. And
and that's the piece. So that's where the work is like, okay, in this moment, things might be tight. if you leap to the consequences of that, now you're leaping out into the future. So you're not, so most of the time, the fear, it's either a fear of something to be coming, or it's a rumination on something that has already happened. It's not actually like, okay, so you have your negative amount in your checking account right now, but right now you're safe, you have a house, you have food, right? It's like right now in this moment, excuse me, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that's the work. It's like right now in this moment, I'm okay. Money comes in and out. Eventually it'll fix itself.
Mm-hmm.
So right now in this moment, I'm okay. Right? That's the discipline.
And I think something that needs to be pointed out here is that you're okay even if you're feeling shitty.
Right. Yes.
Like whatever you're
Yes.
feeling is actually okay, even if it hurts. It's okay
Exactly.
that you're feeling. It makes such a difference when you're like, oh, it's okay that I feel this. I mean, it makes such a difference when you say it's okay that I feel this way.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
well, and you know, this week I was miserable. I mean, I was like really low this week, and it took me 4 fucking days to get out of that misery. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I at first I was angry and wallowing and doing my best Nancy Kerrigan impression of like, why, right?
That wasn't a funny thing that happened to poor Nancy Kerrigan, but
no, it's not, and I don't mean, but like it's iconic.
I like the reference. It's funny.
Yeah, exactly. But so I was miserable, and I was fighting really against it, and then eventually I just was like, you know what? I threw my hands up and I just allowed myself just to be sad. I allowed myself to grieve. I allowed myself to just feel it. It took me 4 days to get out of it, but I had to sit in it. I wasn't trying to fix it. I wasn't trying to heal it. I wasn't trying to do anything with it. I really did have to allow myself to feel it, and it was painful, but I sat in it until it was no right. And now I'm okay. And I was okay being in the sadness.
Yeah. It's okay that you feel sadness. It's okay
Right.
it's okay that you feel pain. It's 100% okay. It's natural, and it's going to happen no matter what.
Right. That's the truth. Life is going to happen. Like you're going to feel pain and sadness. That's just how it works.
Yeah. That's just how, seriously, that's just how it works.
Right.
Just
like,
how it works, guys.
There's no getting out of that.
Everybody who's ever been born, ever.
And whoever will be born. This is Earth. Like we come from the plane of love and support and nothing. There's no pain. There's no sadness. There's only joy and love. That's where we come from. And where we will go to when we die. But when we're on the earth, we're here to feel the whole full range of human experiences.
That's the thing. You have to be in love enough with, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Love yourself enough, right? Love yourself enough to allow yourself to feel life.
Right.
Because that's life. And it's going to pass you by if you keep holding it off.
Absolutely. Because what happens is there's only one feeling style. There's only one feeling style. If you turn the volume down on the sadness and the pain, you have also turned your volume down on the joy and the happiness. Mm-hmm. And gods know we need more happiness right now.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And I mean, I lost it. There was going to be something. It was going to be fascinating.
Then it'll come back around.
Yes, it will. It's so interesting. It's just so much easier when you let yourself feel.
Absolutely. And you're right. You said you hit the nail on the head when you said when you love yourself enough to allow yourself to feel it. That's right.
That's what life's about, right? And this is something I actually, who was I talking? No, I said it on Untethered Fridays earlier, but it's something I've been something that's been marinating in my head for a couple of weeks is the idea that like when you die, you're not going to wish for more time in your head.
Right.
You're not going to be like, oh, if only I could fantasize a little bit more about what life could be. Or
right.
If only I could project my worry into the future. You know what I mean? Like what you're going to want is the feeling of rain on your face. You know, you're going to want the smell of home baked goods or the feeling of anything, any feeling. It's going to be feelings and time with loved ones, you know, which is feelings.
Absolutely.
You know? It's not going to be, so why, like, if you know that, and that's going to be regret on your deathbed, you spend as much time as you can in the moment.
Exactly. That's really the only thing you have.
It really is the only thing you have.
Yep. And let each moment, good, I don't want to say good or bad, but painful or joyful or happy or sad, let each moment be perfect. I mean, the sadness this week meant I was up leveling. So if I didn't feel this, I wouldn't have actually gotten to this really freaking cool place that I'm in today. I needed to go through that's an up level.
Yeah.
Right? Like let all of it be okay. Perfect.
All of it's okay. It's so, and it's hard to see it when you're inside of it, when you're lost in it.
Yep.
It is. It's hard, but if you can not get lost in it, then it's so much easier.
Yep. Be in the world, but not of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, where you gotta go? You gotta go.
Well, no, Lily's on vacation, but I do have to go because I have to get home for a call at 4.
Okay. All right. Well, I like what we just did here. It was good. I think this was interesting, informative, important information we have imparted to the world. And yes, and this is the wrapping it up for our series on self-love. But you know, the self-love is a thing, and it's not. We're not going to stop talking about it.
Yeah.
We're gonna pretty much the thing.
But, I mean, there's a Marianne Williamson quote that says the revolution that will save the world is ultimately a personal one.
Yes.
I mean, that's just it. Like it's all about self-love, and that's really, really, truly, that is what's going to save the world.
Yeah, you have to work on yourself.
Absolutely, because you have no control over anything else.
Do it for the rest of the world, and then you'll love yourself. It's great.
Exactly.
Like either
way, you benefit, we benefit. Exactly.
Yeah, it's great. Do the work.
Do your fucking job.
Robin, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. This is always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
That's it. That's it for this week. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Next week I can't do it. Did I tell you that?